What's up, guys? This is STYLISH, as Ninja used to call me on Ventrilo. And guess what? I'm bringing you another first-person VOD, and this time it's going to be an in-game TvZ where I use the Ayumi strat. And while we're into pronunciations, I would like to tell you that a kind member of Team Liquid, Pesmapakani, yeah, I hope I got that perfectly pronounced. He's probably going to help me with some codecs. He seems to know what he's talking about, but so hopefully I will be able to compile and get better video quality in the future. But I think this is decent quality anyway. If you download the files, it will become decent quality. If you watch the streams, maybe the quality is too bad or something. I don't know. Anyway, this time I'm playing versus a Korean. As you can see, there was a typical Korean dialogue between me and him, using very few words, understand nothing at all, basically. But so I'm gonna do the Ayumi strat here, and I'm not gonna go into the build order here because I have already made a VOD of the build order, and I suggest that you check it out before you watch this VOD, so you know what I'm doing here, this game, and understand why this game turns out the way it does. Anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about scouting again. I did it in another VOD, but maybe you haven't seen it yet. So first I scout here, and you see the Zerg sent his overlord, but I don't see the overlord to come here, so then I change direction. This increases the chance that I find him on the first try. And I go this direction, and I see, do I see his overlord? And bam, yeah, I see his overlord. So he's at that location. So be sure to do that on every 4-player map. Locate where the overlords will be at specific times, and see if the overlord is there. If it isn't, then scout another direction. So basically, I found out that he is going 3 hatch since his, 12 hatch, since his hatchery is at yellow when I arrive at it. When I find it on my first try. So I see that he has taken his spawn pool, and I see that he hasn't been taking his gas. So probably he's gonna do a 3 hatch build, which means I can do the Ayumi strat, and it is probably gonna work because it almost always works versus 3 hatch Zergs. And the positioning is also pretty close, and that's why I chose to do this strategy. So anyway, as you see here, I do the very safe expansion. I build 2 marines and then start making a 3rd before taking my expansion, and that's a very safe expansion. It's a pretty slow expansion, but there's a reason that I make that slow expansion. It's because when I add my 3 barracks, I want to have gathered as much minerals as possible, and if you do the transfer, you will have lower money for a couple of seconds, and then the money will increase coming. But I will make the barack at the timing right before my SCVs in my expansion will have mined any minerals. Even if I do my expansion even before the first marine, the timing will be so they will not have mined up the time that they were away and not mining, and then giving me extra cash before I make the barack anyway. So if I make the CC later, I will utilize every SCV, mine as much minerals as possible until the moment that I make my 3 extra barack, and then I transfer them, and my economy will grow for in time for the barracks to finish and for me to start producing marines. So that's basically the thought of adding a slow command center. And also you have the advantage of that because you will have a safe opening, and sometimes it's pretty good to have a safe opening. Most of the time you will not even have to build a bunker. You know, the Zergs usually does a pool at a specific timing when he do a 12 hatch, and then he makes either 4 or 8 links usually. If they make 4 links, it's not to be aggressive usually, they just want to kill your SCV. And if they make 8 links, they want to go towards your base directly. So you have to scout that with your scouting SCV, if he does a lot of links or just a few. Some players choose to do 6 links. I don't know I don't think that is very good, but if they do 6 links, they usually keep 1 link to attack your SCV and then bring 5 links to your base. But you won't need a bunker for that if you do this strategy, and that's pretty good. So you can stick to the game plan. Anyway, I got my barracks up here, and I'm feeling pretty confident now because he cannot do any all-in ling rush right now because I have 4 barracks pumping units, so I will have way more units than he expects. So I don't need to hide at my ramp or anything like that. And while doing the Ayumi strat, the timing is very crucial. I mean, you're gonna attack his base at 6:50. I mean, if you arrive there at 7:00 or something like that, it could be a win or loss. So you cannot miss a single supply or a single marine or a single timing of this build order if you do this build order. But then again, the build order isn't very hard, so that's why I really like this build order. So as soon as my medic's gonna pop here, I'm gonna go to his base and cause havoc, or whatever you say. Usually when you move towards his base, you could move out with the medics and the marines. Only one group of medics first, and then the group of medic, and then the second group of marines. So the Zerg will only see one group of medics, and also be sure to move as far away from his overlord at your cliff as possible, so he doesn't see exactly how many marines you have, because he thinks you only have 2 barracks by now, and he thinks you're gonna just set some pressure, and he might make 3 sunkens, and yeah, I'm gonna be fine. But that's not the case, because you're gonna have like 22 marines and 4 medics and stim. So yeah, and right before I attack, I always scan. Did he make a lot of sunkens, or did his mutas already pop or something like that? And this time I scouted that he made hydralisks and 4 sunkens, but his sunkens were a little bit slow, so I decided to stim and just rush in. I didn't even wait for my medics. Usually if his sunkens are already up, you should just stand in front of his base, gather your medics, stim, let your medics heal your marines for like a second, and then attack. And usually I target attack sunkens, but if they're links, I just attack on the ground, kill the links first, and then target attack sunkens. So yeah. Anyway, he didn't die any drones here because he's a pretty good player. I think this game is played on B-, and he had pretty good stats in his screen, so obviously he's a decent player. And he saw that he couldn't defend that in any way, so he took all his hydralisks and morphed them on the ramp, so I couldn't go up on the ramp, and he retreated with every drone. So basically, he lost his hatchery, but that's good enough with this. That gives me an advantage. But he's still in the game, if you know what I mean. Oh, here I fucked up with. I thought I had my scan on the 0, controlled 0, but I didn't, so I had to change that, and that can be very frustrating sometimes. Anyway, I think when a Zerg attacks like this back and forth, you should just try to target the lurkers. Some people say that you might target the Zergans because they are more larva cost. They cost more larva to make, but I think that when you have marines and medics and you have 4 barracks, it's really important that you reduce his number of lurkers, because if he has like 8 or more lurkers, it's going to be really hard for you to micro versus them. Anyway, now I know that I have the advantage, so everything I need to do is I don't let him surround me. I have to keep pressure. I have to pressure his lurkers away from my base, because if he can gather his lurkers outside my base, and I have such a late factory, he's going to keep me inside my base, and he can take a dual expansion or rush to hive or something like that. I really don't want that to happen. So I upgrade armor in my eBay to be able to take 3 hits of a lurker with each marine. That makes it a lot easier to micro and to spread the marines and kill lurkers. I usually do that when they open with lurkers. If they open with mutalisks, I usually do the +1 attack upgrade instead. Well, basically, after I attacked and I succeeded there at the first attack, I added gas in my expansion, because now I'm gonna transition to a couple of tanks between, but then I'm gonna transition to basically SK Terran builds. I'm gonna make 2 starboards and stuff like that. And also, you see, I moved my SCVs towards all the different locations where he can sneak his army, because I really don't want to be taken by surprise. You see here, I know exactly where he's gonna move, and bam, I'm there with my units directly, and I scan and I spread, and he has to go back because he can't go that way, and he knows it. And you see here all over the map that I mean, not all over the map, but at key positions I have SCVs, so I know if he's gonna choose to come at any other direction, basically. And now I know that I have the upper hand, so I don't really have to kill him like fast or something like that. I can just ride on my advantage here and don't let him get any free kills or let him get outside my base. And also, I didn't mention that before, but when I attacked him and I was successful and I saw he had lurkers, I added 2 bunkers in my expansion. And this is very important because he could have had his hydralisks out on the map, morphing them to lurkers, because I didn't see that many morphing hydralisks actually. So then I immediately make 2 bunkers and a turret there, so he doesn't try to sneak or something like that while I'm attacking his natural. And that dropship was a fail because I thought that he didn't have any spire up yet because he started with lurkers and he's at the disadvantage, but he's a good player, so and then I just keep pressuring here. I saw that his lurkers were a little bit out of position, so I punished him for that and killed some lurkers. If I just can keep his lurker count at a decent low amount, he's not going to be able to break my M&M groups, and he's not going to be able to get to my base. So basically I will have at some point of the game I get like 400 minerals, and then I take an expansion and I add some bunkers there, so now we're even at 3 bases, and that's pretty good for me. Now, as you see, as I added my science facility, I always add another eBay as well at the same time, because then I'm going to have 2-1 upgrade pretty fast. And when you have the 2-1 upgrade, now I'm going to have 2 armor instead of 2 weapon. And 2 armor upgrade is really, really good versus lurkers, I think, because you basically don't die versus lurkers if you have that. And this is something to always look out for if a Zerg player, especially if a Zerg player starts with a lurker opening and they're at a disadvantage. You really have to be careful for drops, because one drop with a lot of lurkers and some Zerglings will really, really, really hurt you if you don't have that many tanks. So you really have to be on top of things and defending your main if he decides to do a dropship. But as you see, my turret there in that position saw his drop, so I was able to be there in time. In this kind of situation where you have like 3 lurkers and some links, and you have like 3 or 4 marines and a tank and a vessel or something like that, it's always the best thing I think to do is defense matrix the tank, because yeah, that's my advice in all those situations. Usually in all those situations anyway. And as you see, my third is getting up. I have 3 bases mining now, and that's when you should add like a lot more barracks. I think I add 4 more barracks or something like that. You see, my position there of the tank is just to make sure that he cannot mine from his mineral line there without me having to really push into his natural. I can just sit there and he cannot mine, so I try to take advantage of that. And here I was a little bit early. I dematrixed the tank again while it's already dematrixed. I don't know if that had any effect at all. I don't think it has actually. So that was pretty bad for me. But anyway, you see, he try all the time to get to my base or something like that. But I always know where he's gonna come, so I can just cut him off at every angle. And that's really the key to this matchup, I think, when you go marine heavy builds without that many tanks. Yeah, well, I should maybe have scanned some more positions earlier here, because he could have taken an expansion, but I just had a feeling that he wouldn't have taken any expansions now, because well, I've played a lot of Terran vs Zerg, and sooner or later you can like feel when a Zerg is expanding or not. In these kind of situations anyway, when he's at a disadvantage, and I feel that his unit count is so great that he's not going to be able to have expanded a 4th time, because he already has his 3rd base there. So yeah, well, that's basically it. Oh yeah, I see here he does a lurker drop here, and it's very important that you react as fast as possible to that. And that's also important that you have just a couple of tanks. So now I have 3 gases, so I can keep producing tanks actually, and I can keep producing vessels. So they're pretty good to defend versus drop tanks. You should have like 1 in your main and 1 in your expansions when in late game, because 1 lurker drop with some lurkers in your mineral line can really kill a lot of SCVs, and it's always good to have a tank there, because I don't use that many tanks now to attack and to push. So anyway, I feel that my upgrades are good enough now, and that my unit count is good enough to make a move. And I also scan. I think I saw a defiler mound there, so that's the time to make a move before his consume is finished, and then I attack him. So basically, this is where the fun part starts, where you can like micro your marines versus lurkers, and that's one of the best things about StarCraft. That's what I love about this matchup. And it looks like I'm gonna break him here, but I think he has some more lurkers, so it's important that you keep your macro up and keep making supply depots at all times. Oh yeah, I see I cannot attack here without having too much losses, so I just take his gas, because if I can keep the Zerg on 2 gases, he won't really be a threat if you yourself are on 3 bases. I mean, they need at least 3 gases to be any kind of threat with Defiler and Lurkers. And if they're gonna make Ultralisks, they usually need 4 gases, so that's not a possibility in this scenario. Anyway, from here, I mean, it's important to do some stuff, but I think I have already won the game at this point, so basically, basically it's over now, but a good thing to do is attack from 2 sides. That's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna attack above his base first to lure his lurkers up, and then I'm gonna attack under and basically be able to catch his lurkers from both sides. And this is a very crucial moment, because I have to be very fast here. Try to irradiate as fast as possible those devours, and then attack before his consume is finished. So and you see those positioning lurkers there, they are positioned a bit too good, so I have to attack from the other side, because he doesn't suspect me attacking from that side as well. So first I attack here, and then I draw his lurkers up there, so then I can attack from under. And also I should be macroing at the same time here. I really hope I do that soon. Well, maybe I don't, because it's over or something like that. Oh, there we go. As you can see, I have quite plenty Barak, and also I'm making battle cruisers now, so GG, and I hope you like this VOD.